Hi, welcome to the first video in the Microsoft Access Database training, and my name is Martin Delaney. So this first video, we're basically going to introduce the basic components of the database and demonstrate how to create the tables, the relationships, and using calculated fields. So move on down. We're going to determine what tables would be required for this DBMS. So if you think of the database management system, it's for a properties database system for 3 different branches. Mine are properties booking, so I'm going to actually call mine Tyrone Holiday Properties. I'm going to use a logo I just created in Microsoft PowerPoint, and I saved it as a JPEG, and I'm going to use that. It gives it a professional look to have a little logo in your system. And then I'm going to create the tables, create the relationships, and then we're going to go and build the front end user interface, and I'm going to show you throughout the rest of the videos how to interact with these background tables. So if I think of the tables logically, we're going to have a staff table which will store the staff details. We're going to have a properties table which will have the different properties. We're going to have a bookings table, so we're going to have a bookings table then that will be for booking the different properties. We're going to have a customers table which will have the different customer attributes and details, and then we're going to have a final table which will be a room allocation, and each property has 5 rooms, so each booking you can allocate different rooms, and you'll see as we go through the database training that the actual room allocation will depend the cost individually. So if you have 5 people and the room costs £100 for one night, it'll calculate that that's £20 each. So we're going to start off with the first table, and the first table we're going to create will be for the staff table. So I'm going to go first now and create the database, show you where the different components of the database. So it's good to give your database a title, you can add an icon, different things like that there. So escape out of this and go to Microsoft Access, and Microsoft Access I'm going to create a blank desktop database. So Microsoft Access defaults to the documents folder for storage, so we're going to go to the folder that I've set up, and we're going to call it, I'm going to call mine Tyrone Holiday Bookings, and we're going to use the 2007 to 2013, which is an ACCDB. Older versions of Microsoft Access have a .dmb extension, so ACCDB extension would be the more recent version of Microsoft Access. I'm going to click OK, click Create, and it creates a blank database for me. Now, as I was saying to you, maybe even before you start your tables, you might want to go and look at some of the options. Now, if you're building a Microsoft Access database, you might want to compact it. You can also set up a function to compact on save, different things like that. We're not going to worry about that in this tutorial. This tutorial basically is creating the back-end tables, then we're going to create the front-end user interface, and eventually then we're going to split the database that the back-end tables can be put on a server, and the front-end user interface will link using through the link manager the front-end tables with the back-end. So we'll go to options, and you'll see current database. So we're going to give this a title, so I'm going to call it Tyrone Holiday Properties. I'm not going to bother with the icon. Now, when we come to the login, when we've created our login system, we can actually set this as the form that starts off. Anybody that wants to then, whenever you've finished developing your database, always make a backup before you start any of this here. But if you take out these different components here, it means that people can't right click on a form and change or get into the back end of the access file. So I don't touch them until I'm actually finished what I've done, happy with tested it, and I'm happy with my system. Then I can actually have a copy of the original that hasn't these components taken out. And if you wanted a release version, then you would take these different things out. So at this stage, I'm just putting in an application title.